Hello everyone, and welcome to my Dragon Quest VI 100% walkthrough. Joining me today is Dark Knight 97. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm Dark Knight 97, and I mostly do Fire Emblem stuff, but I'm fairly knowledgeable about Dragon Quest, so...
And that's good, because this is a game that's going to require some pretty qualified people.
Yeah.
It's one of the harder games in this series, if you ask me. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it is hard. There are harder games.
Yes.
You generally have resources to go through it, in most cases. Dragon Quest 6 doesn't provide an option.
Yeah, it's not like 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So,
for example,
speaking of difficult... Eh?
For example, if you want to get magic points or keep magic points for a game, like Dragon Quest 6 doesn't offer you a lot of magic waters or elixirs like Dragon Quest 5, 4. You need to search for ways like to get it. You still have ways to get MP, of course, like stealing it from enemies from certain spells or skills, but generally you're still limited to what you have.
And also a lot of the high-level skills either take a really long time to learn or are just not really worth going out of your way for.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, speaking of difficulty, we're going to be playing the Super Nintendo version. That's because most regular enemies have 120% of what they have in the remakes, and they only give out 80% of their regular amount of experience and gold. The remakes kind of smoothed over a lot of the jank, whereas this is the old version.
Yeah. I mostly play remakes, so...
Yeah.
I like
also...
Sorry, yeah.
Hold on a minute. So, to define 100%, I'm gonna say all many medals are acquired. It's kind of like filling out the Pokedex in Pokemon games. I mean, it's not something you have to do, but the game does track that. 2, all mini games are beaten on the hardest setting. The post-game boss gets beaten in under 20 turns. That way we can get the secret ending. Those are all what I consider to be the highlights of a completionist run.
Fair enough.
Also, tell me when the dragon lands. I accidentally paused my video.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I did land now, I think.
Okie doke.
Yeah, the castle is gonna load soon enough.
Okie doke. I see black, 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 black. Ah, there's our hero.
Yeah, now going towards Mordor.
Yeah, and don't worry about any enemy encounters in the beginning. The game takes care of all of those for now. It's just that it also makes you walk super slow. It's like, seriously, we're gonna move faster. Don't worry.
Yeah. You don't really get random encounters in this first time, but and then the next time you come here, you're gonna fight a few. And they're probably gonna be hardest relative to the game, at least.
Speaking of the boring stuff, we're probably gonna skip through at least a few of the encounters. Like, we're gonna edit those out, make smooth transitions, because I'll show all the stuff that's interesting, and I'll show you where all the sequence triggers and all the towns and all the chests are, but when it comes to, like, fighting the same enemies, that's gonna artificially lengthen the length of the video, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. RPGs
also,
are
isn't this music
repetition.
Amazing?
Oh yeah, it is.
It's my favorite in the whole game. It's so ominous and demonic, and yet it still sounds regal, oddly enough.
Yeah, I mean, Mordor's still a demon lord, so a pillar, if I say so.
And like in the remakes where it's all pitched up, it still sounds regal, but it doesn't quite sound demonic regal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because for the remake soundtracks, they got it from like the orchestral score when this composer composed his music in concerts.
That's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Of course, I already told you that the last time we recorded, but our audience doesn't know that.
Yeah.
They also don't know that I forgot to record the sound last time, but I am going to now.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did we wind up here?
Yeah. We forgot to mention this last time. Please do check all the chests and wardrobes and the barrels and the pots, since they might have some items like what is seen here.
Yeah, and while I don't count chest opening as part of 100%, I do open most chests and get most items anyway, just because it's helpful, but it's not a hard 100%, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Also, make sure that you use that agility seed on Rex. The way agility works is kind of complicated. Too complicated to put in anything other than the description, but basically, it determines turn order, like whether your enemies go first or whether you go first, but you need a lot more of it than your enemy before you can 100% go before them, and vice versa for your enemies. So the most part, don't worry about it. Just get a few extra points on Rex so that he has an easier time with some early game enemies.
Yeah. And like you get two things that substantially boost your agility. One's an agility ring and another is a meteorite bracer.
Yeah, but that's not for a while later, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and use this defense seed on Rex. There's another guy called Carver or Hassan, the big guy we saw in the beginning. He gets most of the resilience seeds, but Rex is alone right now, so use it on him just to increase his survivability. Also, go to the left instead of right like I'm doing if you want something called the Wayfarer's Cloak. Boost your defense more, but we don't need it because I'm good at the game. But you might not be.
Well, having the Wayfarer's Cloak will just increase your chances of survival. That's pretty much it. You don't have to get it, but it makes things easier.
Speaking of easier, I run from a lot of these guys just because I don't require the gold or experience right now. I will have to go out of my way for it eventually, but these guys are scrubs. They don't give a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'll fight a few of them now that I got that club. That's a stronger weapon than what I have now, but mostly I run from anything I can't kill in 2 rounds or less.
Of combat, yeah.
So like, for example, these guys, they still take 2 hits to kill, but they're relatively weak.
Yeah.
Like, even with
Get more
the
gold and XP
added
too,
HP, they don't take that long. I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, you're literally getting more gold and XP at this point, so you might as well want to fight the enemies which get more gold and XP.
Yeah, and the reason you want to do that is mainly because of level ups. For example, right now, we made it to level 2.
Yeah.
Now that took very little to get, but in the future, it's gonna ask for a lot more experience.
Yeah. It gets harder to level up later on. And like, the Dragon Quest 6 is an odd game where you don't need a lot of levels to beat it, I guess. Instead, you're gonna need skills, so that will go to later on.
Yeah, but to spoil a little later on, basically the lower your level is, the easier it is to get skills. But that's not for a little while later, so...
Yeah.
Oh, also, these guys, we have some village goods. We need to sell those in order to get something called a spirit crown. Or at least our hero thinks he does. We're gonna get it for free, but he doesn't know that. So we're gonna haggle with these guys till the left one gives us 480 gold.
Yeah. It takes a while, but you get more money, so it's worth going back and forth.
Yeah, more money means stronger armor and stronger weapons. And again, Rex is alone. He needs the help. What else? Oh yeah, that trip to this town, Shiena in the Super Nintendo, Haggleton in the remakes, there is a fairly dangerous encounter with 3 enemies called 3 ornery onions. If you want to be completely safe, you'd get to level 3 while at that mountain pass. That doesn't usually ever happen, but just letting you know.
Yeah, onions are mostly annoying because they can use medical herbs to heal themselves.
Oh, and also make sure to get that thief's key. It's in the lower right in this version, but somewhere in the upper left tents in remakes. That's one difference between the two.
Location in the remakes are slightly swapped. Location of items, what to get. For example, you can bargain a thief key for 200 coins in the remake version, so you get a big book of beasts which helps you find more info about monsters, and that's pretty much it.
And it also resets the step counter. That's something where the random encounters in this game aren't really random. It's more like the game generates a number, and it keeps subtracting from that number until it hits 0, and then you get an encounter. Sometimes you can take advantage of that, like with the Big Book of Beasts. For some reason, it resets that counter. So if you spam it on the overworld, you can avoid all encounters, period. It's a speedrun trick.
Yeah. And speaking of speedrun tricks, we bought a couple of Chimera wings to save time moving around. They essentially transport back to a village or a town. You eventually get a spell that replicates the effects of a Chimera wing and let you move where you want, but for now, you'll be stuck with using the Chimera wings if you want to move around quickly.
Indeed. Oh, hey, it's the guy that's supposed to make the crown for us.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. If we don't save him, we won't be able to progress.
Yep, fair enough.
But let's say no to him a few times. I like the reactions.
Yeah, that'll be a bit amusing.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, are we gonna die?
Or are we dead?
Well, guess the game's over. It's been... okay. Fortunately, we're invisible, so falling 50 stories doesn't hurt us.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt either way. Keep falling in Moon Mirror Tower later on. 50 foot, I don't know how he doesn't break his bones.
Well, yeah, but that's because we got more level ups.
I mean, falling from like, I don't know how many floors.
No, see, it's like when you kill an enemy, you absorb their life essence into your own body, and then you, like, get super strong.
Yeah.
And you take their money, too. This is a violent
Filching,
game.
casually robbing houses, no problem.
Oh, I almost forgot. We got something called a mini medal, or a small medal from the well. Those are the mini medals we were talking about earlier. Now, even if this wasn't 100%, you want to get most of them that you can find, because you get some good treasure from a guy called Medford Minikins, I think it was. Some weird name like that.
Yeah, something in metal, just leave it at that.
Oh, and the reason we're at this house is because for some reason the game requires us to do that. Despite us having no inclination to go here. There's lots of weird moments like that.
There's a future quest you can do if you want. The rewards vary depending upon how you act at quest. That's pretty much
but
it.
we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
It's like, from the context of the story, why are we there?
Probably because you fell while saving an old man. That's pretty much it.
Well, I guess the real reason is because they expect you to talk to everyone, which is usually a good idea, but can get a little annoying when you've already played this game.
Yeah.
Like here, if we hadn't gone in that house before going to the well, some little kids would be blocking us, and we couldn't tell them to shoo.
Yeah, and this one's an interesting deal. 6 medicinal herbs and 1 holy water for 50 coins. That's pretty cheap actually.
Indeed. Alright, anyways, let's talk to the guy we were supposed to get our treasure from. We'll be very thankful for the whole saving his life business, so we could probably get a good deal.
Yeah, we got a crown for free, pretty much.
Yeah, and we get to keep all the 400 gold that we got.
Yeah.
Well, aside from the armor, the scale armor that we got, and also the thief key. Those were totally worth it, though. That scale armor is ballin'.
Skill armor should last you a while.
As will the scale shield.
Indeed.
Okay, now. We talked about agility, and we talked about defense. 4 points of defense
Agility
means
is really
1 less
about.
point of damage from enemies. What?
Yeah, go on. Yes.
So let's talk about the rest of the stats. Now, we got something called a beauty plant. We're gonna use all those on Rex, but don't worry about that. It literally only comes in handy for one minigame out of the whole rest of this, like, multi-hour long game. So for the most part, don't worry about it. And when you do worry about it, it's only for the level 8 contest. The rest, easily acquired without min-maxing.
Yeah. Most of the rewards are
And you
fairly
do.
good.
What did you say?
Yeah, most of the rewards on contest is fairly good.
Yeah, like at the second highest level, you get a Sage's Stone. That restores everyone in your party for 80 to 100 HP, and you get to spam it over and over for free.
Yeah. Like, speaking of Sage Stones, like, I'm not sure if it's the same name here, but I seem to get a lot of those frequently earlier on. Might be a different name around here.
Okay, I should talk about that. The translation for this Super Nintendo patch isn't very, well, good. So, like, that item I talked about, they put it on the wrong item. They put the name on the wrong item.
Yeah.
They call a magic water a sacred stone. So you'll get a bunch of sacred stones when actually they're just waters that recover, I think, what was it, 20 to 40 MP, I think?
Yeah.
Speaking of MP, I should talk about the rest of the stats. So you have something called HP, that's your health. Like health points, that's what I'm talking about when I say HP. There's MP, which is magic points. We'll be using those when we get spells. You also have strength. Every 2 points of strength we have means an extra point of damage. And then there's wisdom. Not really an important stat, it's just more wisdom means slightly lower odds of getting put to sleep or stunned or poisoned. All sorts of nasty status effects that we'll get into later.
Yep. Here's a typical go to quest moment.
Oh yeah. Lots of divine intervention in this game.
Yeah.
Well, then again, this game is called Realms of Revelation in the remake,
Yeah.
so I guess the game kind of warned us in advance.
Fans, yeah.
Now, is there anything else on your mind?
Not particularly right now. We discussed stats. We discussed almost every basic thing, I think.
Oh, and for those that just read the line, I think I wet myself, I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the remake script. What do you think?
Well, I'm sure it's pretty scared at the very least. Not really sure. I haven't played for a while.
Yeah. So... Oh yeah, here's another sequence trigger right here. We gotta talk to the mayor, and then only then will we be allowed to go to sleep and move on with our lives.
Yeah, I remember an amusing moment with a friend. Like, he didn't get his pass, so literally granted a hero to 10 and got 2k gold.
Oh, and by the way, the mayor called us 18. We are not 18. In the Japanese script and in the remakes, we are 16. Everyone was aged up 2 years in this fan translation. Can't say I don't understand, but still.
Well, I guess it's to make sure that, like, actually legal to marry, just make sure buddy's a bit fair. To be fair, in the remakes is a bit of a womanizer in a way. If you go to all the talk conversations, he still loves Tanya, but you get a point.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I'm not sure the plot ever actually reveals this, but this whole thing about Tanya feeling that something's not right and that she's gotta figure that stuff out, do they ever follow up on it?
Probably not. Like, might be in a real world. Like, you know, the hero might not be a real brother or something. I don't know. Like, you really see in a mirror of Ra that she has a sad expression when I use it, I guess.
Yeah, huh. Well, anyways, let's head back home, cheer her up a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, we are getting close to the end of our video. So, this has been Fiona Day Quester and Dark Knight 97 bringing you some 100% Dragon Quest. This is Fiona Day Quester signing out, and God bless you.
Yep. See you folks in the next video and subscribe to both our channels.
Feel free to tell us what you thought.